JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 15th of April 2022. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session, morning live session, where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always guys, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which is also updated on a daily basis. So you have to check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then guys, of course today is going to be a very quiet date, most likely, well, of course, due to the Good Friday celebration. So if you are celebrating, so happy upcoming Easter. Yeah guys, today, like I said, the majority of the top bourses will be closed, so we probably are not going to get anything, but the point of this video, we'll have a look at some of the pairs, some of the other instruments, and in terms of the indices, we'll just see how we can prepare ourselves for next week. Now, jumping into Nikkei 225 here, the first thing, of course, you can see that we tried again to overcome this barrier, this 27,215 zone, which the index came very close to it, but again, failed to push above it. As I said before, I need to see at least maybe, well, not at least, but a break of this barrier, and also a break of this short-term tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 30th of March, and then potentially we could consider maybe more buyers joining in. At the moment, we are very careful, of course, very cautious, and if we eventually end up breaking this downside line and pushing, then I'll aim for some higher levels, but I'll aim for that 200-day initially, 200-day EMA initially, or then I could aim for this other downside line taken from the high of the 14th of September, and then of course we will take it from there, guys. Now jumping into Hong Kong's Hang Seng, the index it did trade today. Oh, and by the way, I mean Nikkei also, this is where it ended today. Hong Kong's Hang Seng did not trade today. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, that is correct. It remained, it closed yesterday, so this is where it ended up being. Now, if we're looking for some, upside on this one, then certainly a push back above this upside line taken from the low of the 17th of March would be needed. Until then, we will take a bit of a careful approach here. And keep an eye on this one, because if it continues to trade below all of its EMAs here, because this is what it's doing right now, then there is still a good chance for this one to drift lower. But again, probably for me right now, in order to get a little bit more excited with the downside, first of all, I would like to see a, let me just get rid of this line. First of all, I would like to see a drop below the current, well, actually not the current, but the lowest point of this week, near the 20,988 zone, and then The next target to consider is the 20,778 level, which acted as a good area of resistance and support previously. So, but if that gets cleared, then yeah, further declines could be possible. The German index DAX, it closed the session yesterday in the positive territory, slightly in the positive territory. It managed to climb above that 14,100 zone. I talked about this, and now I mean and now of course we're considering maybe a bit of a push higher here. However, as I mentioned before, that this push higher could be tricky because we do have this downside line taken from the high of the 5th of January. Just bear with me one moment. 5th of January, yes, and if it continues to provide resistance, then another decline could be possible. Now jumping into Dow Jones Industrial Average, also of course closed today, but yesterday we saw an interesting move here, and yesterday the index pushed higher, managed to break the downside line here initially, but then kind of failed to hold on to its gains, and kind of lost everything and closed the session in negative territory. This was the least losing index from the top three. Nasdaq was the biggest loser, and the S&P was the second. So at the moment, guys, I mean, looking at this picture, what I would like to see here is, now previously I talked about this hurdle, this 34,353 zone. In a way, it partially worked out because of what I was saying then. I'm going to aim for that 34,179 area, which we've tested perfectly, but we rebounded from it, and we didn't really move further south. So now I'm going to put my importance here, but I'm gonna what's the best way to describe this? I'm gonna make this level a little bit more important than the other one here previously. So at the moment, if you're looking for some downside, keep your eyes on this 34,179 level, approximately around there, just roughly, guys. If we drop below this area, then yes, I will aim for this short-term tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 24th of February. However, if the index is able to hold on to this 200-day EMA and then reverses to the upside and breaks this downside line, then yeah, that's where it could become a little bit more interesting for a few more buyers. And I'm going to keep an eye on the highest point of this week, which is near the 34,889 level, and as it pop above it, yeah, would confirm a forthcoming higher high. Now, a quick update on dollar index. So the dollar index reversed sharply to the upside yesterday. If you remember, yesterday I talked about this, and I said that, and in general I talked about this throughout this whole week. What I said was that if we rebound kind of let's say we come close to testing this area, and then this area holds, we could see a nice rebound and a push higher. And well, we didn't really reach this hurdle. However, the move, it seems like that this move was enough for the bulls to pick up here, and probably the bulls were very impatient, and yeah, they just kind of decided not to wait until we can test this area, and they decided to reverse straight away to the upside and attack. So for now, you can see that the 100.52 level is somehow providing that resistance. We are briefly above this, of course, but just in general, this hurdle is kind of providing that resistance so far. If we push further above it, then yes, of course, we'll go for some higher levels, but if we manage to stay below this, then maybe this index will start ranging again, like it did, for example, here previously. So basically, in other words, let's keep an eye on this hurdle. If it continues to hold and we see, let's say, a decline, then again, like I said, I might consider this one being maybe a possible range here. Jumping into gold, and gold did drift to the downside yesterday. Today it's just kind of flat still. To be honest, again, I don't think that much excitement could come in unless some sort of events happen in the market. But at the moment, yeah, it's just sitting still below that 1979 area, and it still kind of provides that good resistance. Although we had a few overshoots here, as you can see here, these little false breakouts. And yeah, this 1979 area is something to watch at the moment. My only concern here is that if we continue to struggle to overcome this barrier, then maybe a bit of a retracement here could be possible. So keep that in mind. Jumping into WTI oil, so pushed nicely yesterday through this downside line, stayed above this downside line, above this 101.60 zone, above that 21-day EMA as well. Oh, sorry, not yesterday. That was on Wednesday, but on yesterday it just kind of remained somewhat flat, and today the market is closed. So yeah, not much activity will be seen in general today. Well, obviously for obvious reasons, but something to keep in mind for going into next week. Like I said, if it continues to trade somehow above this downside line, or maybe even above the 21-day EMA together with that 101.60 zone, then yeah, maybe we could see a nice rebound like that and a push higher. If the rebound doesn't happen, for example, if it decides to go straight away to the upside, what you can do here is maybe keep an eye on this little high, the high of the 5th of April, near the 105.57. A nice good clear break above that may attract more buyers into the game. Ethereum, so Ethereum is, yeah, it's trying to make its way higher. Yesterday it declined after kind of testing that downside line. I talked about this yesterday, so it's just a quick recap. So Ethereum, yeah, it respected that downside line and drifted back to the downside. Now, at the moment, I would say yes, as long as the downside line remains intact, then yes, lower levels could be met, guys. But if, of course, we break this downside line and push through that 3,143 territory, and maybe then we can clear these two EMAs, the 21-day and the 200-day EMAs. If you clear that, then yes, we'll get a little bit more excited with the upside. At the moment, it could still drift lower, don't get me wrong, but for the downside, probably for me, I would like to see a drop somewhere below this 2,951 level first, and then we could go lower from there. AUD JPY. So this one's a bit annoying. It's still kind of, coiling up here. However, again, it could present itself with a nice opportunity later on. But at the moment, I would say be very careful. First of all, that's the most important thing. Be very careful, because in a way, as long as we kind of remain in between those two lines, we could kind of stay there. I do understand that we're kind of already losing some area where to maneuver in here in between those two lines. But the more it kind of goes here, the more we are anticipating maybe a stronger move of some sort. But again, at the moment, let's not rush into anything. Keep your eyes on the levels, and then we will take it from there, guys. At the moment, like I said, for the downside, I need to see a break of this upside line. For the upside, I would like to see a drop. Oh, sorry. For the upside, I would like to see a push through this downside line initially, but probably the more opportunities for the bull, for the bulls could come on a break of this 94.32 level, which is the highest point of March. A quick update on AUD CHF. If you remember, I talked about this 0.70 territory. We managed to reach that perfectly. So in the beginning of this week, I talked about this. I said, keep your eyes on this hurdle, because if this reverses, to the upside from here, we might see maybe a possible right shoulder forming here. And my next target was this 0.70 territory, which we managed to reach perfectly. Now let's see if we can actually drift back down here and go to this neckline and then break it. Again, this is just an idea first, because, for example, if it just, you know, overcomes this area and starts pushing further north, then, well, ignore the whole kind of head and shoulders pattern, because maybe, you know, it will just form somewhat of a maybe a broadening triangle here. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, it is how it is, guys. I mean, at the moment, you just have to be very careful and patient. Of course, that's the most important. I'm trying to find a triangle. No, not a triangle. I think I need a. Where's that pattern? There we go. Triangle pattern. There, this one. So basically, it's something like this, I believe. So yeah. But it should be the opposite way, I think. Yeah, let me just. So something like. Let me draw this one maybe somehow. Like this, maybe. Let's put it here. Yeah, this is going to be much better, I think. So this way and this way. There we go. So basically something like this, and not in this direction, of course, but it should be like, you know, towards the right side. So could be maybe seeing a broadening triangle, of course. So that's why, guys, at the moment, like I said, the idea with the hidden shoulders pattern is just an idea for now. I mean, we still need some confirmation. But at the moment, one part is working out, so let's see if the other one can work out too. Quick update on Ncd Cad. Yesterday, again, I mentioned this hurdle. This is 0.8524 zone, which we need to see a break off in order to, yeah, go for lower levels. This would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and potentially more sellers could join in. At the moment, like I said, it's just wandering around here, but can we see that, you know, can we see that break? Well, we're just, like I said, we're waiting for it. If we can get it, then yeah, we'll, and we can stay below this. That's the more important probably thing here. If we can stay below this hurdle, then yes, we'll go for lower levels. USD JPY, so this one is just on fire. I mean, look at this, it's just rallying and rallying, and that's it. And you know, it seems that there's no stopping for it. So at the moment, yeah, I mean, it's until we at least get a clear break through this upside line, we cannot really, you know, get comfortable with the downside. So, or at least for some sort of correction. At the moment, it's just one-way traffic. I do understand that probably for some it is very frustrating, but you know, this is the market we're dealing with, and at the moment, I mean, the only thing we can do here is just keep an eye on it. If you are on, you know, on the buy side, if you're still holding into this position, you might as well still hold it, because we still have not seen, like I said, a reversal signal. If we take a look at the monthly chart, as I mentioned before, I'm keeping an eye on this hurdle, this highest point of 2015. If, let's say, by the end of the month we still kind of drop by below it and stay below it, now that's where maybe going into next month, we could see a bit of a retracement here. But at the moment here, April and actually March is very strong. But again, let's see how all this is going to play out. Quick update on US dollar against the Mexican Peso. I've talked about this, and I said to keep an eye on this 19.72, 73 territory right here, because if it provides support, we could see a nice rebound. And at the moment, yeah, we're seeing that. Now, what I said to you before, that in order for us to go lower, we need to see a clear break below that in order for this to confirm a forthcoming lower low and potentially attract more sellers. Well, we didn't get that. We didn't get that break. Instead, we saw a nice strong reversal here back to the upside. Some of you probably are considering this one maybe to be a possible double bottom here, but if you're thinking about that, then yes, you might not be wrong, but a confirmation break is still needed through this so-called neckline. So if this will end up being a possible double bottom, then, well, just for that extra confirmation, you need to see a break through this key resistance area right here, which, let's put it this way, it's roughly around that 20.19. That's kind of the last level here, and that's the current highest point of April. Gbp Ncd, very quickly on this one. So this one's quite interesting and tricky. I talked about this one. I said that keep your eyes on this downside line, because in a way we got a nice good test of it. Recently we saw a strong push to the upside, but what I need here to see is at least a push above this 1.9325 level, which is the current highest point of this week. What I'm considering as well here is, for example, we could end up trading somewhere around here and maybe just leaving it, and staying below this hurdle, and then we'll see how in the beginning of next week it will play out, because maybe this could be forming a possible bullish flag here, and if that's the case, then certainly yes, higher levels could be met. And we could go for for further upside. Like I said, for now I'm keeping an eye on this 1.9325 zone. If we pop above it, then I'll go slowly higher. Gbp Chf, also quite interesting. So I talked about this one previously, because what I said, that if we pop above that 21-day EMA or this 1.2228 zone, we'll consider a move higher towards this downside line taken from the high of the 18th of February, because what I talked about previously was that maybe, just maybe, we could see here this one as being as a potential kind of descending triangle pattern. But as you can see here, we've broken this downside line, so it seems like now we are willing to travel higher. However, I have a little problem here, because it's this 100-day EMA shown as the green line, and it continues to provide that good strong resistance. Now, previously, like I said, I considered this idea, but didn't really work out. I would say for now, because let's put it this way: if this somehow drops back below this downside line today, then yeah, maybe I'll consider this idea again. But at the moment, I mean, it seems that the pound is on the stronger side a little bit. So yeah, let's see how this is going to play out. However, in order to go for some higher levels, I would like to see actually a push above this 100-day EMA now first. If we climb above that, yes, I will slowly aim higher. Of course, you always have to have your stop loss in place, just in case this suddenly, gives us a false breakout and then reverses back to the downside. But yeah, at the moment, it is unfortunately, it will be a bit of a waiting game here. So because we already kind of did that good move to the upside, can we see a continuation move? Now, that's, like I said, that will depend on if we can actually clearly push through this 100-day EMA. Euro Cad, very quickly on that one. So this one's drifting to the downside again, and it's coming closer again to this low of the 5th of April. That's not the lowest point of April. Of course, the lowest point of April was yesterday, the current lowest point of April, and that was near the 1.3555 area, I think. Yep, that's correct. Yep, roughly around there. We're still trading below this downside line, so for those who are kind of looking for some upside on this one, guys, I mean, this is a bit of a tricky one, because as you can see here, not only this downside line, which is taken from the high of the 23rd of February, but also this 21-day EMA, and at the moment still, yes, that is providing resistance, and if you're looking for some lower levels on this one, guys, I mean, yes, I mean, at least wait for a drop below this, the low of the 5th of April, which is roughly around that 1.3589 zone. Then, of course, we'll aim for that yesterday's low, which is also the current lowest point of April. And but if that gets cleared, certainly, yes, this opens the door towards further declines. For the upside, yes, as I said, break of this downside line and a push with the 21-day EMA is needed. And finally, EURUSD. So a bit of a roller coaster ride yesterday, and boom, you can see here, not only did we manage to drop briefly below this 1.0806 territory, but then we kind of reversed to the upside, and yep, we climbed higher, but then yeah, we sold off again, drifted to the downside. So in other words, it was a real roller coaster ride yesterday, but it stabilized, and now it's kind of back on track to the downside. However, as I said before, I need that confirmation break below that 1.0806 territory, and I would actually prefer to see the pair staying below this hurdle in order to get a little bit more excited with further declines. So in case this suddenly starts pushing back up, now this is where I need to adjust this level, no longer needed. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep an eye on this 1.0945 level right here, and or in general this whole area right here in between the 1.0923 and the 1.0945, around, depending on how this is going to trade. For example, if it rebounds from this key support zone here and travels to the upside, I will also keep an eye on that 21-day EMA, because if, let's say, if it comes closer to this area, then all would kind of, you know, pile in nicely into this potential strong resistance zone, which, for example, if it gets broken, then could attract more buyers into the game. But at the moment, we're leaning a little bit more towards the downside. So yeah, let's see if we can stay below this 1.0806 area, which is the lowest point of March. So guys, that's it for this session. I really hope you found it useful. This was like a quick one. The markets are quiet today, so I don't know if you're gonna trade or not, but if you will, don't forget that we might be lagging, or not lagging, lacking volatility. So if you are scalping some, you know, it might end up being that one instrument goes in just one direction. So yeah, just be very careful with that. And let's say if you are trying to counter trade, you might kind of run into a few difficulties there. But as always, have your stop losses in place, guys, and everything will be fine. So thank you very much, guys, and have a wonderful, wonderful Easter weekend. And I'll see you on Monday. Actually, yes, I'll be back on Monday. As always, at 6 o'clock GMT time. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.